Like when I was an engineer, yes, there was a governance, but it was limited to my four member. So governance started then. As I grown in my career, so the governance expectations started increasing from then till the corporate governance.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Falak Khan, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. We have one such industry heavyweight on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Ramesh Savanur. Hello, welcome, Mr. Ramesh Savanur. We are glad to have you here today with us on FaceTime with Leaders.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for to have me here.
So, Mr. Savanur, our viewers would like to know in brief about your career journey so far.
Well, thank you so much. Myself, Ramesh, I proudly carry 30 years of aeronautics and defense industry experience. And these 30 years comes in two folds. One is, with HL for about 12 years, which is a product industry and a OEM. The second 18 years comes from the service industries, different service industries like Tech Mahindra, Capgemini, AXISCADES, Altran, and so on. So I began my career after graduating from one of the premier institutions of India, that is NITK, in the year 1993, and joined HAL as a management trainee. That's how my professional career began. It was a wonderful experience working with HAL. I spent about 12 long years in HAL trying to understand the aeronautics industry. And these 12 years, I had an opportunity to work for different departments like, the production planning and control, NC programming, CNC manufacturing, quality engineering, methods engineering, so on. And this being a product industry, I had an opportunity to collaborate and coordinate with design and the assembly lines and also the customer service activities. So this made me to have a complete understanding of an aircraft product life cycle, starting from design, manufacturing, and after service segment. So if I put it, the sum up, what is my takeaway in these 12 years? It is simply understanding a complete aeronautics industry, the first thing. Second thing, I was fortunate enough to get associated with global, the OEMs like Boeing, Airbus, British Aerospace, Fokker, and MHI Japan. And my last project was Israel aircraft industry, where we converted a commercial aircraft into freighter aircraft. And third takeaway is myself as an engineer. I started my career as an engineer and working hands-on technical activities. I produced some of the very critical components for Indian defense, that is a Jetty 36 wing and some of the airframe components for different aircrafts. So these are a couple of takeaways for my HAL journey. After spending 12 years, I switched my career from product industry to services industry. So in the year 2005, then Satyam, today it is Tech Mahindra, they had signed a strategic contract with the Bombardier Aerospace to start a engineering center in India, large scale engineering center in India. So that is how the headhunter hooked me. They were looking people from aeronautics industry. That was how I joined Tech Mahindra. It was a phenomenal experience, rather, the life-changing experience for me. It's because those days engineering outsourcing was not believed. Especially when it comes to aeronautics industry, it was extremely difficult because one is aircraft is a complex machine and it's a very critical, and data transfer or having access to data is a very, very, it's a paramount. And technical abilities, and we as a country, we have inadequate experience in commercial aircraft segments. So these are the couple of reasons it was not believed. And the first thing what we had to do is we had to go to customer side and work hands-on, win their confidence, and then bring the business. So that was how I started. I took a small team. I went to Montreal and worked in the premises of customer and demonstrated our technical abilities and won the confidence. Then later we brought back the business. That's how the journey started. The 7 years I was with Tech Mahindra, it was a phenomenal experience in terms of building a large-scale engineering center. By the end of 7 years, around 520 resource center we could build. And, the journey was, phenomenal in terms of proliferating simple activities to the complex and owning a complete work package right from design and manufacturing support and various activities within the aircraft industry. Except physical manufacturing, we used to do all sorts of engineering activity. That's a kind of a proliferation we had. And also Bombardier had multiple sites, multiple locations, Montreal, Toronto, Wichita, and Belfast. So we started with Montreal. Over a period of time, we started supporting their all centers or all sites. And also Bombardier has a multiple products or multiple aircraft programs. So we could proliferate to all of them. The overall, it was very satisfying journey in terms of learning, in terms of getting a global exposure, meeting an international customer, working closely with them, and adding value to them, and at the same time, growing the account. So simple takeaways for out of this experience was basically, the built a 30 plus million kind of a revenue account and about 520 resources, a large engineering center. These are some of the takeaways. So after spending 7 years with Tech Mahindra, I moved to another service provider called AXISCADES. So the idea was, in Tech Mahindra, I was serving more of a North American customer, and I got an opportunity to work for a European customer. That was how I could move from Tech Mahindra to AXISCADES. I joined AXISCADES as a vice president and building the offshore development center for them for one of the large European customer, that is Airbus. So it was a short stint compared to Tech Mahindra. I was with AXISCADES for about 4 years. The journey was very phenomenal because in terms of very niche skill, we could build and be able to support the customer and deliver effectively, and at the same time grow the account and make it profitable. So this was basically a short stint. In 4 years, we could build a reasonably the good in terms of the headcount and the revenue and profitability, and similarly proliferating to their all Airbus programs and different locations. It was very satisfying journey. And some of the key takeaways from this journey was, the one is creating a niche, the services, niche skills, and being able to provide the services to the customer. The second is acquiring a signatory certificate. In the aeronautics industry, it is very important to have a signatory certification. Signatory, what we call is a design delegation authority. So it is extremely difficult to get this kind of a status, and we were the only company outside Europe to get such status in those days in around 2014 timeframe. So the third was in terms of improving the efficiency, we could drive a couple of initiatives like cost optimization initiatives and all. So that was how the 4 years I spent with AXISCADES, and then I had an opportunity to move to another service provider, that was Capgemini, in the year 2016. So this was a unique experience for me. Till then, I was working for Indian pure play companies, and this was an opportunity to work for a global MNC. And Capgemini as a brand is a very huge brand, and a lot of customers, a lot of opportunity to learn, a lot of opportunity to interact with various global leaders and so on. So here, basically the goal is the build a delivery engine, be able to deliver to the global customers, being in India. So that was how, the goal was. So with my previous experience and leadership that I carried, it was, extremely easy for me to understand the nuances of the business and, interact with the global customers and internal leadership and bring the business to India, and at the same time build a delivery engine in India and be able to deliver and make a difference and add value to internal and external customers. So this is how, the 2 years I spent. It is very short stint for me, and I had an opportunity to make another move. I moved out of Capgemini and joined Altran. Altran is one of the, again, it is a European player. This is, the number one engineering service providers globally. So I was very passionate about engineering, and I got an opportunity to work for such a company where, it's a number one global company and serves for multiple industries. And similarly, my responsibility was heading the aerospace and defense business unit. And similarly, normally the European players in India, one of the theme is how do we industrialize and how do we transform the business to India. So India is a destination, and everybody looks at India as a powerhouse and how we can, make a difference, be able to deliver value to the global customers. So I was very instrumental in industrializing a couple of, the activities. And the good thing was, since it was a global number one player, we had a lot of capabilities, niche capabilities, like, the CFD, flight physics and all. Apart from mundane activities of whether it is mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, avionics, software and hardware and all. So the spectrum was very wide, and we could, also we had a very niche area. So we could successfully, the transition the business and industrialize and participate in some of the transformational activity. It was very, very, satisfying journey for me because of all of these. And in around 2021, Capgemini acquired Altran. So that is how I had to again come back to Capgemini, because I had already, worked in Capgemini in the past. It was not difficult for me because I knew the leadership, I knew the customer and team and process, everything. So it was relatively easier for me. When I came back as a second stint in Capgemini, I moved out of heading the business unit to heading the global program management. It was a wonderful experience for me to the global program management. By then I had played various leadership roles in the industry. It was another opportunity, hence I took up, and I was managing about 2,500 resources comprising of aerospace and defense, technical publications, mechanical and electrical engineering, and PLM. So comprising of 4 business lines, around 2,500 resources, I was managing. So it's very, the main goal is how we can, grow the revenue and make it profitable, and also engage with customer and build a relationship with customer and so on. It is very, satisfying and encouraging opportunity for me. And by end of March 2023, I decided to move out of corporate life and, start something on my own. Now I am on the journey to start my own startup. That's in brief about myself.
Wow, so that's been indeed like a very interesting and a wonderful career journey so far. I'm sure like it's been challenging as well, but I'm also sure that you've just grown for better over the years.
Absolutely.
Yes. So can you share an example of a disruptive business strategy you implemented to achieve significant growth and profit margins?
Yeah, so in my 3 decades experience, my couple of opportunities or couple of strategies I have developed, implemented, and seen the results. And one of the significant, if I would like to mention, this was for one of the European big player customer. The kind of activity was, it was a non-conform, building the large-scale engineering center for non-conformities and repair activities for aircraft. So we signed the contract, and in the first year was, the lot of challenges, great learning in terms of overcoming challenges and be able to satisfy the customer expectation. So the first year it was more of going through a lot of pain and stabilize ourselves, put up a processes, build a team, and so on. So now, as a service industry, one of the goal always would be, how do we grow? What we can do to bring in the growth and make it profitable. That's a simple ask. So I was reporting into CEO, and this was a challenge thrown at me. Now it is, the 1 year learning period is over. Now, what do you think, how we can grow the business? So then, I thought through and came up with one of the, strategy. See, I would like to mention here, strategy and planning is misunderstood among the people. The strategy basically, it is, where to play, how to play, and what to achieve. Maybe, focusing at ourselves, customer, industry, and competition. Whereas planning is basically, thinking before doing. So the kind of strategy that I put was, we knew what kind of a business it is, what skill set that is required. The unique strategy that I came up was, how do we become a preferred supplier and win the next contract? Next contract, what I mean here is, normally in aerospace industry, once you win the contract, it is for 3 years. So after 3 years, it goes for a renewal, and you may win or may not win. So my simple thinking strategy was, become a preferred supplier to the customer and be able to win the next contract after 3 years. So now we have just completed 1 year. We have left with 2 years to do all this. So the roadmap was around ourselves, customer, and competition, and the industry. So what I did was, I looked at each of these, the levers, and did a lot of brainstorming and discussion with the team, and trying to basically, get into the insights of each one of them to be able to achieve what I set up the goal is, to become a preferred supplier. So when we started looking at ourselves, then we looked at what all the gaps in terms of technology, competency, process, tools, and so on. Then in terms of customer, what is that customers looking? Customers looking for sure a trusted partner, and the organization who have strategy and ability to invest, ability to support customer, and obviously the in terms of best pricing. So basically, smarter, faster, better, cheaper, and safer. That's what customers looking at. Then the industry, me being into the industry, I had to pull out a lot of, the reports from the, public domain, and try to understand what industries, where it is heading, and what is that is required. And at the same time, the competition. So we limited our study or our strategy to India only. We did not compete with the global players. So we looked at the competition around, and did a market study in terms of what is there, basically SWOT analysis, doing, about competitive analysis. So after all these initial studies, we put up a complete roadmap and action plan, and with this supported with a robust governance mechanism. That is how, it is basically thinking and designing all of them and putting it onto the paper and started driving. So in 2 years, though we put a strategy, roadmap, and action plan, all of that, and journey was, initially it was difficult, because normally, the strategies cannot be checked when you put up. Whereas planning, you can check what is going to happen today before you even put the planning. Whereas strategy, you will not know. When, suppose you want to win something, you don't know until you win whether it happens or not, despite you would have put a best strategy. So we were still skeptical, are we heading the right direction or not? So some of the, the unique things we came up was, if we want to become a preferred supplier, what is that one thing, or some of the things what we can do? One we came up was entry barrier. In terms of entering into aeronautics business, it is difficult since it is a special skills that are required. So we looked at how do we make a competitor not to enter into this segment, because the volume of the business, we knew it is very high and the longevity is there is a chances that every competition can come in. So how do we create an entry barrier? So we worked on that in terms of developing competency and sending our resource to our on-site, that is France and Germany, equipping them and developing the various process tools and innovation in terms of how we can help in terms of reducing the non-conformities at customer or reducing the repairs. Any repair is people don't like. If the aircraft is going to repair,
Right.
nobody likes it. So whenever the aircraft is in the air, it makes the money. If it is on the ground, it is a big loss. So we knew precisely, how we can help our customer in terms of reducing all of these non-conformities and repair activities, and how we can look at a cost optimization activities in terms of pyramid ratio, utilization, productivity, and so on. So we looked at carefully each one of them, started working on them. And obviously we knew the industry and we knew the competition. So we had a couple of plans around them. So 1 year it was, satisfying journey. But yes, we had left with another year to go. By end of the second year, that is first 3 years of our journey with this customer. So it was a phenomenal success in terms of achieving what we had put up initially, that is becoming a preferred supplier and be able to win the contract. So we could achieve that, and we won the contract again. And from then till now, it is one of the preferred supplier for the customer. So it's a phenomenal journey and kind of a thought leadership we brought in and a rigorous action plan and driving. At the end, it proved the result, and we were successful in terms of achieving what we wanted. And later on, it was only the growth story, because we had put on a lot of experience, intimacy with the customer, and be able to add value to the customer. So it was no looking back after winning the second contract. So that is how the one of my experience putting a disruptive strategies.
That's really very great, I must say, and wonderful indeed. So how do you approach cross-functional global team leadership, and what challenges have you encountered in managing multicultural and multidiscipline teams?
Yeah. So, due to advancement of technology today and processes and the global awareness, I would say managing a cross-functional teams today is relatively lesser challenges, that today. But however, it is not, if you would ask this question 15, 20 years back, it was difficult. So today it is relatively challenging. However, there are a couple of, the challenges in terms of managing a cross-functional teams. Like, for example, collaboration. The first one is a collaboration. Second is a language and miscommunication. The third is a conflicting goals, and the fourth is a difference of opinion and approach, and cultural differences. These are the couple of challenges, that I have seen in my experience. So basically, if you see, each human being is a different, and each human being comes with an experience, comes with some cultural background and their own learning, their own understanding of life, and so on. So my approach in terms of managing all of this is, what I first did was, when I'm managing a team or I'm working with a team, it is extremely important for me to understand human aspect, basically the team. So who they are, what kind of the experience that they carry, what kind of a skill set that they have, what kind of a mindset, basically behavioral aspects and so on. So that was the first thing, because I knew precisely, if I have to be successful as a leader, it is extremely important to know your team, know your people. Okay, that's the first thing. Then second thing was, in terms of getting anything done from this a cross-functional team or a multicultural, multidisciplinary team, it is extremely important to understand what is the objective in front of us in terms of a project, or what is that we want to achieve, and what it takes to achieve. Okay. So what the approach was in two things. One is in terms of project related, and the second thing, the software aspects of human beings. So from the project side, so I understood the project, very clearly. What is the project in front of us? What it takes to deliver? What is that is required? And what is the customer expectation? What is our end objectives? So I was very, clear about it. The first thing I did was I took the team and had a one-on-one discussion, and then later team discussion in terms of explaining them the project expectations, what is in front of us and what it takes to deliver, and what is that is required to be done, followed by a review mechanism in terms of governance, periodical review, and basically see the checks and balances, see where we are heading to. This was on the project related. Then on the human aspects, in terms of their culture, in terms of setting the the roles and responsibilities, communication model, and as I had understood the people aspect in the beginning, it was relatively easier to know who carries what kind of a mindset, and building a trust among them, valuing the team members, and basically motivation and inspiration, inspire the team members. So these two areas I worked upon, and mostly we handled multiple times, since it is a global place. As long as I was working for Indian pure player, it was more of a local teams or local teams sitting in abroad. But here, off late from 2016 onwards, I had to manage global teams, and it was extremely, the challenging and a great opportunity to learn. So with this approach, I was, pretty much successful in terms of managing. And it's not only managing. End of the day, we had to achieve what we wanted to achieve in terms of the end objective, what was set through. So we were pretty much successful in terms of doing that. And after, it was the first one or two, projects where there was a lot of learning, and later on there was no looking back, because once you get a grip, once you understood, how it works, it was relatively easier to manage such global teams, and I was pretty successful, I would say.
Yes, that's really very commendable indeed, I must say. So when we talk about corporate governance, we want to know like how and when did you develop an interest in corporate governance?
Yeah. So, today, if I look from here, corporate governance is complete holistic approach. But when I started my career as a young engineer, till now, I played, the various roles, right from working technically hands-on and contributing for an aircraft. Today also, some of the aircrafts I see in the sky, I feel that, okay, I have done that, this component, that kind of a pride feeling, one would.
Right, of course.
So, over a period of time, playing various leadership roles, including managing a P&L, what my experience was, every stage of career or a project, there is a governance. Like when I was an engineer, yes, there was a governance, but it was limited to my 4-member team or a small, the activity that was given to me to see that whatever the objectives in terms of quality or productivity or on-time delivery, there's a simple KPIs those days for the for the team, simple team member. So governance started then. As I grown in my career, so the governance expectations started increasing from then till the corporate governance. So when I became, when I was part of the leadership team and started playing the leadership roles, my, understanding of a governance largely increased, because, early, as I said, every stage there is a governance. When I was at a, earlier days, it was simple, I just look at my thing and go. When it comes to corporate, it is not So it is a holistic way of looking how an organization can be run effectively and meet the the stakeholders' expectations, basically. So it comes a complete organization. So as a leader, I started realizing and understanding that, yes, this is an expectation. But now, I had great learning playing a similar governance at all levels. It was not difficult for me to build upon that. And then, started working or contributing towards a corporate governance in terms of making policies or strategies or putting up roadmaps, investments, and ultimately meeting the stakeholder expectations. So that is how my interest started. And today I am in the leadership role where I'm contributing for the corporate governance.
Oh, wow, that's really very great indeed. So as a corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
Yeah, so as what I believe is in terms of the being able to meet such a challenging expectation of the stakeholders, it is extremely important to carry some of the values as an individual and see and also try to align the organizational values and proliferate them and see that how everybody looks around these values and try to implement. And when it comes to me, some of the values comes to my mind is one is the integrity. What I feel it's extremely important: perform duties honestly and in accordance with the moral principles, for example. Yes. Then the second is a transparency. Third is a trust, a commitment, passion, and leadership, accountability, simplicity, and so on. So the passion and trust, the passion, as I'm, into the corporate for last 30 years, and I come from engineering background and into aeronautics industry, I'm extremely passionate about this complex machine. It is such a fascinating to work for aeronautic industry or aircraft, gives a lot of satisfaction. So I bring that kind of energy and passion of this industry, and the same passion I carried forward when it comes to the corporate governance.
Wow, that's really great, I must say. So when we talk about technology, what are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with changes in technology? And what changes do you expect to see with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, and Web 3.0?
Oh, yeah. It's a very interesting question. First thing is, as I spent 30 years, I could see what was then and what is today. 30 years is a good time frame to, see evolution, industry evolution, and experience and be part of it. Yes. So I would say I was fortunate enough to witness that. Right. So if I look at a couple of areas, one is, again, I restrict to my industry, aeronautics and defense. The first is the design. In the aircraft, first we do the designing of aircraft. So those days, we used to do a manual calculations and hand design, build the aircraft part by part and a complete aircraft. To now, today, it is an unimaginable growth in terms of technology. That is, the 3D, that is, we have today a lot of 3D tools where we can build design the aircraft. See, earlier we used to just see on the paper on a 2D. Today we have tools and technology where we can design using these, the CAD tools. Then after that, concurrent engineering. Concurrent engineering is, the earlier aircraft life cycle was to produce one aircraft was 25 years. The 25 years if you start an aircraft.
That's a long, very long time.
So today, with the power of technology and concurrent engineering and a lot of other, aspects like, the industry 4.0 and so on, today the cycle time is drastically reduced to 7-8 years. So from 25 years, it came to 15 years, and today to 7 to 8 years to produce an aircraft. Wow. So that is the power of technology which helped in terms of design. Now coming to manufacturing. Manufacturing, again, it was a manual manufacturing with the conventional machines. Today, there are high-speed CNC machines which from using which components are produced. And today we talk about the 3D printing. In terms of technological evolution, huge in terms of manufacturing activities, whether it is a material, whether it is a supply chain, or manufacturing technologies or processes and tools and so on. So even after the manufacturing, before the manufacturing could done simulation, so we could see on the screen electronically whether what we are going to produce is going to be good or not, or it's going to meet engineering definition or not. So like that, there is, whether it's a PDM, PLM, or Industry 4.0, so many technologies that have come, and today it is made relatively easier, faster, and better in terms of making a manufacturing, including the assemblies. Once the manufacturing done, we assemble each part by part and come. Then that's how we build the aircraft. Yes. So today in the assembly lines, a lot of robotics. The technologies deployed, and a lot of human intervention is reduced. Accuracy and fast, it is better, relatively better and faster and so on. So that's about manufacturing. When it comes to avionics, what we call all the systems, LRUs in the aircraft. So everything used to be, meticulously designed and developed manually, and there was not much of a coordination among the different systems. Today, again, with the power of technology, we call MBAC, model-based design, model-based systems, and so on. Then with the evolution of IT technology, a lot of embedded software development and hardware development that has come in. And today we are building the avionics system, which are connected, which are smarter, intelligent, and connected, the avionics system in the aircraft. And next, if it comes to my mind, is basically the customer experience. What I mean is, if you would have seen a couple of years back when you get into aircraft, they used to give you a newspaper and a magazines. Today, that era has gone, and nobody is willing to read newspaper while they're flying. Today, technology has helped us to have our own gadgets to make in-flight entertainment. So forget about what aircraft is providing as a entertainment, but your own gadgets. You have mobile, and you can get connected with using the internet and using a intranet within the aircraft, and that is a kind of a customer comfort and customer in-flight entertainment. And then customer service, if you look at a customer service, so if something, today every product calls for a service. Okay, if in the aircraft industry, if airliners have any need of service, those days it is extremely difficult to get the what is service requirement and try to understand and be able to address their concern. Here, as I said, when the aircraft is in the air, airliners can make money. If the aircraft is on the ground, it's a big loss for the industry or airliners. So those days, it was extremely difficult to address anything that comes in from the customers in terms of service requests. It was difficult to address because of the long. If somebody from America, they give raise a request. It across the globe, how to address within a short time was a big challenge. Today, because of the power of technology, today there are online customer service provider centers are there, where globally all the customer requests falls in there, and 24/7 there are people who to pick and divert it to the required departments to address that. And you will not believe what we call is aircraft on ground, AOG. So within where any critical situations are being able to address within 24 hours, that kind of a enhancement that has happened in terms of the customer service activities, because of the power of technology. So these are the couple of things what comes to my mind in terms of what was then and what is today. Now, your second part of the question was what I see, how the industry evolves using the power of these technology, like you mentioned a couple of them, AI, ML, and so on. So what I see is till now, there is a lot of advancement that has happened over a period of time because of the technology. And today, it is a digital era. So with the power of a digital era, again, if I look at each segment by segment, if I look at in terms of aircraft, the coming days, there can be, very advanced sonic or any other advanced aircraft, and also the urban mobility, which was never, unheard in the olden days. Today, it is like a, auto rickshaw. It is a air taxi, what you call.
Right.
So urban mobility is going to come very soon. And then drones, which you already seen, drones are going to play an extremely big role in the industry. In every sector, it is going to play. And the electrification of aircraft. See, today the fuel, it is all dependent on the fuel, because of the the uncertainties of the fuel for a longer duration. There is already a lot of innovation in terms of what are the alternate fuels could be used, whether it is electrification or hydrogen and so on. A lot of innovation that is happening. Yes, that is going to come very soon. And second area is, as I mentioned earlier, to produce aircraft, it used to be 25 years, which means every stage there is a lot of activity it is involved, and which is time consuming. One of that is testing. When you are doing anything, you have to test, because regulatory, it is a highly regulated industry. Unless you test and produce the required data, you are not expected to put it in the aircraft and make an aircraft. So earlier days, if anything has to be produced, that has to be tested. Now to test, you need to first produce and put it under the test and see how it behaves. Today, because of the power of the technology, everything you can do a computerized simulation before even producing. You can build the aircraft, like let us say, like one example is, let's say at a 40,000 feet high altitude, you have to test certain parameters.
Right.
Imagine in olden days, you have to make an aircraft and fly to 40,000, then, test it. Today, because of this technology, you can simulate that kind of an environment sitting in your, computer lab and do the, the testing. So the simulation testing is huge, difference, which has already brought and which is also going to bring, which is one of the key parameter in terms of reducing the cost and reducing the cycle time. So that is how 25 years it has come to 6 to 7 years. That's one of the big contributor, I would say. So then in terms of, I talked about in terms of aircraft, in terms of the power of the simulation and testing. And today, what we call is a connected aircraft, which means today, wherever the aircraft is flying in the globe, sitting here, we have a ability to access the data of that aircraft and measure some of the parameters. Okay, that's that is made possible today. And what we call is a aircraft health management system, which means, so there are the sensors put in the aircraft, and you can constantly 24/7 you can measure the health of aircraft, including the engine, which means before anything that is going to fail, you would know, sitting in the lab or sitting in your the office, what can fail when. No, that is a kind of, if something is going to happen, then beforehand, then you give the alert and do a required, attend to it and ensure that that is going to be rectified. So it is helping the life extension of the aircraft and safety of the aircraft, and reducing the disasters and life of a human being and so on.
Yes.
So that is the next one. And as I talked about connected product and connected industry, it is completely connected today, whether it is right from simple parts to the complete product. And the another important area is we talk about net zero. So it's one of the global warming, and a lot of focus across the globe in terms of how we can reduce the carbon footprint. So there is, again, with the power of technology and digital technology, it is helping us how we can look at fossil fuels, alternate fuels, and the reduce the carbon emission of the aircraft. So these are the couple of areas I strongly believe that it has already started making a difference. Over a period of time, it is going to make a big difference in terms of aviation industry.
Definitely. So as you know, we are building a community of industry magnets. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about this initiative taken about by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Himal Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
Yeah, so first of all, if I look at what is this cross-pollination? To me, a simple thing is exposing a team member to a new ways of thinking and sharing a knowledge, which can which can help to power to unlock the innovative solutions by combining the intellectual capital. So that's a simple understanding of what it means. So now, if you look at every industry is trying to discreetly working and trying to bring in the technology and processes, systems and tools, it is an extremely difficult and challenging and going to take a lot of time and cost as well. So one of the smart thinking is how, the cross-pollination can be thought through and practically brought into the industry and, learn from each industry, each, the expertise, and how we can contribute to the industry and society at large. So that's the thinking. If I understand this question, in my view, it is an extremely good step in terms of thinking the such initiatives, because again, in the industry, as I was talking about strategy, everybody can talk about strategy, but who can put the smart strategy and be early on in the industry to make a difference is what matters. So if I see Jishan and team, what they have thought through, in my view, it's extremely good step, and it is better to be, the early on in terms of driving this initiative and make a difference, and certainly industry gets benefited out of this. And if I just, give a simple analogy, if you see our nature, our cosmos is connected. Every human being, every aspect in this cosmos is connected. So what it means is that we may or may not be aware of it, which is connected because it is connected. And today it is a human entity or emerging like this and able to think and be able to do something. So I think that it is basically fundamentally, it is a replication of what Cosmos is doing, what, Jishan and team is thinking. So it is undoubtedly going to work in a great way, which certainly helps the industry.
Yes, thank you so much. These have been really very kind words by you. So it was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Ramesh Savanur. We wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. And all the different wonderful teachings and principles that you live by, that you've shared with us, the wonderful career journey so far, I'm sure like everyone watching this, it is going to help them, inspire them and grow in their careers as well. So thank you so much for being with us today once again on FaceTime with Leaders. Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure to talk to you, and thank you to have me here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Same here. Yeah.